Hello, everyone, and a huge welcome to techaily.ai. I'm David, and I am absolutely buzzed to be here with you today, breaking down the biggest shifts in the technology landscape. And I'm joined by our resident expert, Sophia.
Hey there. It's great to be back. We have quite the story to unravel today.
We really do. It's a big one. But before we get into the heavy-hitting news, I have a quick message for our listeners. You can sponsor this podcast for just $25. Your message will be featured across major platforms like Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and more. If you're interested, visit techaily.ai to get started today.
Simple as that.
Absolutely. Now, let's pivot to the news that has everyone in the financial and tech world, picking their jaws up off the floor.
Yeah, the shockwaves are real.
We are talking about a legacy giant, a company that has been the bedrock of enterprise computing for decades. I mean, international business machines, IBM.
Right. Usually when we talk about them, it's about slow, steady, reliable, incremental changes.
Yeah.
It's the stock you buy for your retirement fund because it never really surprises you. But Monday, February 23rd, 2026 was anything but steady.
It was a bloodbath. I was watching the tickers, and I legitimately thought there was a glitch in the data feed for a second.
No glitch. In a single trading day, shares tanked nearly 13.2%. They closed at $223.35.
Which is wild.
For a company with their market cap and stability, a drop of that magnitude in one day is seismic. You usually only see that kind of movement when, a CEO gets indicted or a major merger falls through completely.
Right. 13% is the kind of volatility you expect from a meme stock or a brand new crypto token, not Big Blue.
Exactly.
So naturally, the first assumption everyone made was that there had to be a scandal. But that wasn't it at all.
No scandal, no missed earnings report. This wasn't an internal error. It was an external shock.
Yeah.
The catalyst was entirely outside the company. It was a product announcement from an AI company, Anthropic. They announced a new tool called Claude Code.
Okay, let's unpack this. We have been living through the AI boom for a few years now. Sure.
We've seen tools for writing emails, generating images, maybe helping with some basic Python scripts. But how on earth does a new AI coding tool knock 13% off the value of one of the world's biggest, most established tech companies? It just seems disproportionate.
It seems that way until you realize what this specific tool is targeting. Claude Code isn't just writing generic app features.
Yeah.
It is specifically targeting the foundational plumbing of the global financial system. It's targeting a programming language called COBOL.
COBOL. I feel like I haven't heard that acronym since a computer history class back in college.
It stands for Common Business-Oriented Language. And history class is exactly the right place for it. It was developed in the late 1950s.
The 1950s. So we are talking about code that is old enough to collect Social Security.
Literally. And yet, this code is still running the world. And I don't mean that metaphorically. The data on this is absolutely wild.
Let's hear it.
There are hundreds of billions of lines of COBOL still running in production every single day. Hundreds of billions. I think most people assume that when they open their banking app, it's running on some sleek, modern cloud architecture that was written last week.
The interface on your phone is sleek, but the back end, the system that actually moves the money from account A to account B, that is often running on a mainframe using code written when Eisenhower was president.
That is terrifying and fascinating at the same time.
Here is the statistic from the reporting that really puts it into perspective. An estimated 95% of ATM transactions in the United States still rely on COBOL.
Wait, 95%?
25%.
So almost every time you go to get cash out of a machine, you are interacting with code written before the moon landing.
Exactly. And this is the crux of the problem and why the tech giant is in such hot water right now. This code works. It's reliable. It handles massive transaction volumes perfectly.
Right.
But the people who wrote it, the people who actually understand how it works, they are retiring or passing away. The pool of human experts who can maintain this code shrinks every single year.
It's like having a house built with ancient plumbing that works great. But the only plumber who knows where the pipes are buried just retired to Florida and isn't answering his phone.
That is a perfect analogy. And for decades, companies, banks, airlines, government agencies have been terrified to touch it.
Because it's too risky.
Way too risky. If you try to modernize it and you break it, the banking system stops working, people can't get their money, planes get grounded, so they just keep paying to keep the old lights on.
Which brings us back to IBM. They are essentially the landlords of that ancient plumbing.
Right. Their business model, specifically their mainframe business, is optimized for this exact scenario. They sell the massive systems that run this large-scale transaction processing where COBOL lives.
I see.
As long as companies are stuck with COBOL, they are stuck with those mainframes. It's a very sticky, very profitable relationship. They have a captive audience because the exit door is basically welded shut by complexity.
So enter Anthropic and Claude Code. This is the welding torch that cuts the door open.
That's what the market thinks. Historically, the barrier to modernization wasn't just writing new code in a modern language like Java or Python. It was understanding the old code.
Right, because it's so messy.
You have to remember, this isn't clean code. It's 60 years of patches, quick fixes, and workarounds.
Spaghetti code.
The ultimate spaghetti. And the documentation is often non-existent. The engineers who wrote it kept the logic in their heads, and they took it with them when they left.
Wow.
So until now, legacy code modernization stalled because simply figuring out what the old code did cost more than rewriting it.
So you're flying blind. You can't replace the engine if you don't know how the engine connects to the wheels.
Precisely. But Anthropic claims that AI flips that equation. Claude Code is designed to automate that exploration and analysis work. It's not just a code writer, it's a code reader.
So it does the detective work.
Yes. It can map dependencies across thousands of lines of code. It can document the workflows. It identifies risks.
Yeah.
Basically, it does the heavy lifting of figuring out what a specific button actually does. Tasks that would take human analysts months or years to surface.
That is huge. If you can instantly understand the map of the old system, moving to a new system becomes, well, I won't say easy, but feasible.
Exactly. It makes migration cost efficient. And here is the kicker for the mainframe business. If you can migrate off COBOL, you might not need that expensive proprietary hardware anymore.
You could just use regular servers.
You can move to the cloud. You can move to cheaper commodity hardware.
And that explains the panic. If the moat around their castle was just that nobody understands COBOL so they can't leave, Anthropic just built a bridge right over the moat.
That's the sentiment. Investors are looking at this and thinking that this sticky revenue just got a lot less sticky. They are seeing a future where banks finally cut the cord.
This brings up a term you see thrown around in the tech world constantly: technical debt. I feel like every developer complains about this over coffee, but for the non-coders listening, let's crystallize what that means here, because this feels like the ultimate example of it.
Think of technical debt like financial debt on a credit card. When you take a shortcut in software development to get something done fast, like patching a bug quickly without fixing the root cause, it's like putting a purchase on a credit card.
Right.
You get the immediate benefit. You solve the problem today, but you have to pay interest on it later in the form of maintenance, bugs, and extreme difficulty adding new features.
And COBOL is basically a credit card bill from 1960 that we've been paying minimum payments on for 60 years.
Essentially, yes. We've paid the principal amount 10 times over in maintenance fees alone, and the interest rate is skyrocketing because the bankers, the COBOL developers, are getting scarcer. Anthropic is pitching this tool as a way to finally pay off the principal. They are saying this tool helps companies fix their digital transformation efforts, which have been bogged down by low developer productivity.
It's fascinating because usually when we talk about AI, we talk about it generating new things, new text, new images, new videos. But here, the value proposition is archaeology.
Archaeology, yes.
It's digging up the past and translating it so we can finally move on.
And that archaeology is incredibly valuable. If you can clean up that technical debt, you unlock huge amounts of agility for banks, airlines, retailers.
Move fast again.
They can finally launch new features faster because they aren't terrified of breaking the backend. But for the companies that sold the debt management services, so to speak, it's a disaster.
Let's talk about the market reaction, because disaster seems to be exactly how the traders interpreted it. You mentioned earlier sell first and ask questions later environment. That feels very emotional for Wall Street.
It is high anxiety. We really have to look at the broader context here. The market is currently in a state of outright paranoia regarding AI disruption. IBM isn't the only casualty here.
Right. There's a pattern.
This Monday drop actually compounded a trend we saw starting the previous Friday.
Remind us what happened Friday.
A slew of cybersecurity companies also took a nosedive. CrowdStrike, Palo Alto Networks, companies like that. And again, the cause was Anthropic.
Really? Same company, completely different sector.
Same company, same core technology, different application. On Friday, Anthropic unveiled Claude Code security. It's a capability that specifically scans code bases for security vulnerabilities.
Which is usually a job for highly paid human security analysts
Or
specialized expensive software packages.
exactly. So on Friday, investors saw Claude Code security and thought, well, there goes the revenue for cybersecurity firms.
And then the weekend passes.
And then on Monday, they saw Claude Code for COBOL and thought, there goes the mainframe revenue.
It's ruthless. It's like the market is playing whack-a-mole, trying to guess which industry gets eaten next.
The narrative has fundamentally shifted. For a while, the market thought AI would just help these tech companies be more efficient.
A co-pilot.
Right, a co-pilot. Now, the fear is that AI will replace the products these companies sell entirely. It's not an efficiency tool anymore. It's a replacement engine.
And looking at the data specifically, this Monday drop compounded an existing problem. This isn't just one bad day.
No, it's adding to a rough year. Monday's sell-off brought their shares down more than 24% year to date.
24%.
That is a quarter of the company's value wiped out. That is tens of billions of dollars gone in a matter of weeks.
That is staggering. It really feels like we are at an inflection point. For years, legacy tech was a safe haven. It was boring. It paid dividends. It wasn't going anywhere because the switching costs were just way too high. It was the safe bet.
And AI is rapidly lowering those switching costs. That's the big takeaway from all of this. When the friction of moving away from a legacy system drops to near zero, the value of that legacy incumbent drops right along with it.
Because the lock-in is gone.
The lock-in is completely gone.
You know, it's funny. We always worry about AI taking over the future. Skynet and all that sci-fi stuff. But here, AI is taking over the past. It's conquering the history of computing.
That's a really great way to put it. It's analyzing layers of sediment in our digital infrastructure and saying, I can fix this. It's modernizing us against our will, almost.
So put yourself in the shoes of a CTO at a major bank right now. Say you're running the tech stack at JP Morgan or Bank of America, and you're watching this news break. Are you panicking or are you celebrating?
That's the tension. If you're the CTO, you're probably celebrating, though, cautiously. You finally have a pathway to get off a 60-year-old system that keeps you up at night.
You don't have to worry about finding a COBOL programmer in 2030.
Right. But if you're an investor in the companies that maintain those old systems, you're panicking.
It raises a huge question about what expertise even means in the AI age. The expertise used to be, I know the obscure syntax of COBOL. Now, is that skill worth zero?
Well, I would add a nuance there. The expertise shifts from knowing the syntax to knowing what the system is supposed to do.
The business logic.
Exactly. The AI can do the translation, but you still need humans to verify that the new system actually handles the money correctly. If the AI hallucinates a transaction, that's a catastrophe.
A massive one.
So the role shifts from translator to architect. You become the supervisor of the AI, ensuring the logic holds up.
That's a hopeful spin for the humans, I suppose. We get a promotion to management.
I try to be optimistic, but for the legacy giants, the immediate reality is harsh. They have to prove to the market that they are more than just the guardians of ancient code.
Right. They have their own AI initiatives, too.
They do, but right now, the market sees them as the victim, not the innovator.
It's incredible how fast the narrative turns. One day you're a blue chip staple, the next you're an AI casualty.
It's the speed of the news cycle combined with the tangible capabilities of these new models. We aren't talking about theoreticals anymore. Anthropic is saying, here's the tool. It works today. Go use it.
And clearly, the market believes it works. A 13% drop says they absolutely believe it.
Money talks, and right now it's saying goodbye to the mainframe era.
So, looking ahead, do you think this is an overreaction? Are these legacy stocks going to bounce back next week when people realize rewriting banking systems is still scary, even with AI? I mean, banks are notoriously risk-averse.
It's very possible. Markets tend to overshoot in both directions. As we discussed, the trading environment is sell first, ask questions later.
Right.
Once the dust settles, people might realize that compliance, regulation, and pure institutional inertia will slow this transition down significantly.
Yeah, just because you can migrate doesn't mean the board of directors will sign off on it tomorrow. There are audits, regulators.
Exactly. Banks don't change overnight, even if the code can be rewritten overnight. But the possibility is now there in a way it wasn't a week ago.
And that changes everything.
That fundamental shift in possibility is what repriced the stock. The horizon has changed.
It really highlights how fragile some of these business modes are. We assume they were made of stone, but they were actually made of, well, Complexity.
Complexity and obscurity.
Yeah.
And AI is a universal solvent for complexity.
Universal solvent for complexity. I like that. That's a great way to frame it.
It really fits what we're seeing across multiple sectors.
So bringing it all back home, we have a massive drop in a foundational tech stock, a 24% drop year to date, triggered by an AI named Claude that can read code from the Eisenhower administration.
It's a brave new world.
It certainly is. And it's a warning shot to any industry relying on the idea that it's too hard to switch as a business strategy. To wrap this up, if we look at the scorecard, the winners are the companies dealing with technical debt. The losers are the legacy maintainers.
That's a fair assessment.
Who else should be watching this?
I'd say anyone in government. The U.S. government is one of the largest users of legacy systems in the world.
Oh, absolutely.
If this tool works as advertised, we might finally see the modernization of systems that handle everything from taxes to unemployment benefits.
Now, that would be a revolution.
Yeah.
Getting the IRS off of 1960s code. Imagine filing your taxes and having this system actually work efficiently.
One can definitely dream.
Well, there you have it. An AI tool that reads 70-year-old code has wiped billions off the value of a tech staple, promising to modernize the banking and airline infrastructure that humans have been too afraid to touch for decades.
It's a pivotal moment, and it leaves you with a really provocative question to mull over.
Let's hear it.
If AI can instantly understand and rewrite the complex, forgotten languages that run our world, what happens to all the massive industries that were built entirely on the difficulty of that task? It's not just banking or mainframes. Are we witnessing the bursting of a much broader legacy tech bubble?
That is a question that is going to keep quite a few CEOs awake tonight. I want to thank you so much for breaking this down with me today.
Always a pleasure.
And thank you to everyone listening. We'll be keeping a close eye on the ticker tape to see where this goes next. Thanks for joining us on techaily.ai. Catch you next time.